Hi, my name is Dr. Shamell Bell, visionary instigator of street dance activism. This is a call to the Nashville community to participate in street dance activism's global dance meditation for Black liberation. I am a professor at Harvard and Dartmouth and an original member of Black Lives Matter that sees street dance as a way to use our bodies and community as a catalyst for joyous resistance and revolutionary healing. The global dance meditation is not performative. It is radical healing. It is an act of solidarity, an embodied pledge. To move in the dance is to also move in the world.
As a global collective, we will raise vibrations and dance to embody Black liberation.
The Global Dance Meditation in Nashville is organized in part by the 2020 Engine for Art, Democracy, and Justice program, an initiative founded by Vanderbilt University's fine art professor, Dr. Maria Magdalena Campos-Pons, in collaboration with Fisk University, Frist Art Museum, and millions of conversations.
This year, we are exploring creative approaches to living together in the Global South through a series of webinars and artist intervention, including this one.
Through this call to action, we will mobilize communities all across Nashville, but especially ones in North Nashville that are still recovering from the tornado and COVID, in addition to longtime problems like displacement and police brutality.
We will come together through moving our bodies and shifting our realities to heal ourselves, move as one, and take Black liberations to the street.
We are going to shift our reality, our frequency, ourselves toward a lighter path.
Join the shift with the Global Dance Meditation for Black liberation.
So yesterday was amazing, to say the least. There's been so much positive feedback. I mean, positive is not even the word I want to really use to describe it. It's really been a shift. I think Nisi's daughter, was it Nisi's daughter, Katie, who said that she hadn't experienced anything like that before and she really enjoyed yesterday. I had so many people either calling me or texting me and sharing with me how yesterday had inspired them. And then literally coming back from Andrew Jackson, we were walking back to our cars and how the community was expressing and sharing with us how, it was completely different energy walking down there and then coming back. And then something my mom said to me that I wanted to share with you all. Because I'm a Fiskite, Nashville native, and my mom has been in Nashville since she was 18. And so she said, they built Andrew Jackson, they built the projects behind Fisk, and very normally there are projects around HBCUs. And she said, but there's a history of HBCUs, especially Fisk, having this energy about ourselves that we're better than the community surrounding us sometimes. And so my mom made a point to say, she said, I heard that Black man say, how thankful he was that you all came over here. She said, but I think it's because he saw you all hit that corner coming around from Fisk. And he was like, what are all these Fiskites? What are all these people who are coming from Fisk doing in our community? But by the time we had finished, that was the energy that we could almost tell that they had been longing for. People were longing for that communal energy to happen. And so my mom talked about, and she still talked about that this morning when I spoke to her. So she was like, I don't know when the next one is, but, the community's in need of it. And so we had one young lady come by. She said, are y'all having a homecoming this year that we can attend? And we're like, no homecoming this year, but it's important that we start really wrapping our arms around our community. And sometimes that work is just right where we already are. And it takes things like this for us to really see how we can really instigate and initiate something like this. So thank you, Shamell Bell, and thank you to all of you who are doing this work and a part of this.
The work of revolution oftentimes has been done by artists, because artists are the people who see life before things happen. You know, they see things come about, you know, in the mind through imagination and creativity. And so I think just being able to be in a space to offer my creativity has, especially for the fight, the struggle, was, you know, an honor and a privilege. So thank you just for creating the opportunity for this to happen. Also, our friends at the Frist and at Fisk, and Dr. Magda, you know, for just creating again this space.
So my name is Rashida Fatuga. I am a Nigerian woman born in America. Thank you. I live in Nashville, Tennessee. I am a former school teacher, and I started Gideon's Army just because I really wanted to offer support to my families and to my fellow school teachers. But I left the classroom, and my students, they started to get pushed out of school, pushed out the classroom, arrested, but then they started to be killed. Like my students, my babies were getting killed on the streets, and I didn't understand it. And so, you know, I took some time to learn and to understand the issues, and that's really where Gideon's Army was birthed out of. One of my students, Lamar Hughes, was killed when he was 16. But he told me that he would not live to see 18 when he was in the 3rd grade. And when he died, it changed my entire life. I often say that his death was a catalyst, you know, for me to live authentically in my own life. You know, and I thank him and Tevin and Mikkel and all of my students who've gone before me for the lessons that they've taught me, but it also really put a lot of fire in me to make sure that I do everything that I can to protect the students that I have left here. And so I stayed in Nashville and built Gideon's Army. Our mission is to act collectively, boldly, and strategically as a unified force for all children, placing children first at all times. We eliminate the root causes of the prison pipeline, save our children from death and incarceration, and guide them on a secure path to success. We will not stop until the pipeline is dismantled. We will not quit on our children.
That's beautiful. So I put in the chat some of the other questions, but I'm going to read another one out to you. What are the most urgent needs in the North Nashville right now? Another one is, what are the next steps in the healing community? And how does activism of any kind play a role in that? Let me repeat that. I'm sorry. What are the most urgent needs in North Nashville right now, and what are the next steps in healing the community? How does activism of any kind play a role in that?
So the most urgent needs in North Nashville really are the same needs, you know, for communities across the United States, really across the globe, that are oppressed, and that's to dismantle these oppressive systems that, you know, keep Black people from being able to live and exist in a state of freedom and liberation. You know, we live in communities that are unhealthy. So, you know, building social determinants of health, healthy schools, healthy communities, making sure that there's food security and economic development, economic security within these communities is extremely important to us. I think that's definitely some of the next steps that need to happen, which is huge. You know, Gideon's Army is working on that, working on just recreating and redefining what safety means to us, looking at how we transform our communities and build systems outside of the traditional justice systems outside of traditional school systems that are community-led and that do not reflect or resemble the current justice systems or the current systems that we have now. And as far as healing is concerned, I think, one thing that Gideon's Army is working on is we have community members who are credible messengers who live and work in the community to prevent and interrupt violence, but we also respond to trauma. So we have people in the community who are there to offer support to those who have been impacted by violent crimes. We are working to have first responders who are mental health workers as opposed to armed police officers. Just if we're talking about healing, then we also have to stop the harm that's happening at a root level. And so those are some of the things that we're working on is, how do we stop the harm that's being caused? Because it's really hard to heal when you're continually being battered and bruised. And so we have programs in place. We do a lot with art. And that's why this project is so important to us, because we are a very art and activism based organization. And so healing through activism, but it's dance and it's theater and it's music and things that really enliven the soul, because the weight of this work is so heavy. And so, that is kind of where our healing work occurs. But we also do circles, like a lot of indigenous style circles, healing circles, grief circles, relationship building circles, conflict transformation circles, all within the community where, people can choose, instead of going through the justice system, to come through Gideon's Army and be a part of the circle process.
Wow, that's amazing. Katie, if you could do me a favor and put us on a gallery view for right now, because I just want to thank Rashida so much. I had one final question that I did not prep you on, but just if there is anything that we can do for you, anything I can do for you, I want to be able to do that. So if anyone that is connecting and resonating with Gideon's Army, with Rashida right now, if you could just look us in the eye and tell us there's something that it could be a heart's desire. I know my eyes is watering because just like you are moving me to want to move. You are one of the reasons why I do this work. People just like you, and I feel really silly that I'm tearing up. Yeah, and so just that's what prompted this question of, what can we do for you in Gideon's Army? We have the call to action, but I just want to know, what can we do for you?
You can visit rebuildnorthnashville.com and just learn about Gideon's Army. People can sign up to volunteer. We're working on having in-person and virtual volunteer opportunities. And donate. We always need funding. Most of our funds go right back into the community from the people that we hire. We hire, like I said, credible messengers who turn their lives around and are helping people in the community do the same. And so it's just really, really important to me that the children and the people really are being impacted by the money that is donated, whether it be direct assistance, paying bills, workshops, classes, paying rent, scholarships. Like, we do so much for the community. And so I would say every dollar is stretched as thinly as it can go, is stretched as wide and as far as it can go. And then things like this, whole space, meditation, dance. Like, a lot of times people send messages and they'll say, I'm praying for you, or we're holding you up, or we did a meditation, or we dedicated our yoga class to you all. Like all of those things, all of that energy, it really goes a long way. And so whatever you can do in your part of the world, you know, be good to a child, be kind to your neighbor, volunteer, all of those things wherever you are important. But I would also say rise up to the revolution. You know, don't be afraid of being called radical. Don't be afraid of, you know, being labeled by racist groups, whatever it is. It's time for us as a people to stand in our power. And that's something that we can see in Nigeria, just the way that there's no leaders, and there's this movement building, and there's music, and there's creativity and technology and all of these things that are being leveraged just off of the innovation of the people. Do not be afraid of who you are. Don't be afraid of who you are. Don't be afraid of your greatness, because when we stand in who we are and we stand in our greatness and we all do, you know, what we can in our parts of the world, it will all come together and we will see the transformation that we are looking for. Even if you cannot be here for Gideon's Army and for the children in North Nashville, be present where you are and be present for yourself.
That's it. That's what I felt. That was it. I was like, there is something in you that is a message. And I know that sounds weird or creepy, but I felt it. And I said, okay, there's another question. We haven't gotten the question. It was nothing but that. That was our call to action.